Hello. Okay, how's it going? Good. Everyone excited to be here? Introduction to Sociology. Okay, yes. I feel like a cyborg, so we're doubly connected. I'll explain it later, but I've signed up for something I think everyone will like in this class. I've signed up for the web option. So that means we're on camera. You can see Ralph right in the corner, our videographer. And so, as you know, this class has two sections, Monday and Tuesday. You're all obviously part of the Monday class. Our lectures will be recorded, and then they should be available within 24 hours on Quercus. I'll show you what that looks like. And so if there's a week you can't make it, you want to stay home, you're sick, you can watch the lecture online. Thanks. I was hoping that would go over as a good decision. I was a little bit scared. I usually don't dress up, but now that there's a permanent record of this class, I kind of felt, I gotta. So my game has been upped for this class. All right, so sociology. This little messy picture, it didn't go on the screen as well as I'd like. This sentence will kind of be a recurring theme in this course. Everything is more complicated than you think. Now, complicating things should be a general goal of your undergraduate your undergraduate education. We all have ideas about things, about ourselves, about how the world works. Sociologists in particular are really interested and focused on probing into and critiquing those assumptions. So in this course, if you've already looked at the syllabus and the course textbook, which I'll go over later today, you'll see that in the 20 chapters we'll cover over the course of the term, we pretty much address everything. We address issues of gender, sexuality, race, media, everything that you can kind of think you may have some sort of idea about. Politics, immigration, everything under the sun. So this idea of keeping things as complicated and really wondering, what makes us tick? Why are we in this room? Why are you paying attention to me? Is it just because you want a degree? Why do you want a degree? Why is learning cool and fun or tedious, depending on the moment? So really in this class, it's an open forum. You'll obviously have assignments and assigned readings to do, so it's not just a total free-for-all, but this class and this experience should be seen as an open forum for you to just really rethink a lot of things that you already have ideas about and be introduced to a lot of new things. Which again should be the goal in any undergraduate course at all. So some guiding questions, because that could sound a little bit broad and ambitious, kind of studying anything social in the world as a sociologist. Some questions that you'll see, which are derived from the week's readings that we have. So this idea of complicating everything comes from the term which is called the sociological imagination. So seeing how things which seem perhaps very individual, like personality or characteristics or attitudes, seeing how, okay, so the sociological imagination, which we'll see is the theme of next week in our first kind of introductory readings of this course, is taking what you think of as particular and individual, something that you think is just unique to yourself, and seeing how it is shaped by wider society and wider contexts. So sociology as a study of, or as the study of human groups, human interaction, human behavior, really differentiates itself from psychology, which is also very interested in those sorts of questions, by focusing first and foremost on the surrounding context, whether you think of that as this specific classroom, U of T more generally, Toronto, or Canada scaling up, as opposed to kind of an individual organism. So understanding what the sociological imagination is, though it's addressed exclusively next week, that will be something that you will always be trying to figure out and refine. Where you won't just learn how to think like a sociologist in 1 week. How does theory help us help us understand the social world? So after getting into kind of what sociology is, what it means to pay attention to context, how we're a little bit different but similar to psychology, we'll then cover an array of social theories. So theories are constructs that are used to help us make sense of all the kind of messy sense data and stuff going on around us. So you'll be introduced to a wide variety of key thinkers that have really addressed classical human sociological questions, such as what is the nature of action? Why do people think the way they do? Why do societies progress the way that they do over time? What is culture? All these sorts of questions you'll see will be recurring throughout the course. How do sociologists conduct research? So we'll learn what sociology is, we'll see the foundations, its kind of theoretical origins, and then we'll go into the actual nuts and bolts of how it is that you as a student can actually do sociology. So you'll see that our bread and butter methods are surveys, field research, so asking people questions, observing people, and sometimes even performing social experiments, kind of like the ones you might see on YouTube where people try to like spook people in public. So we have something like that called breaching experiments where we try to test people's norms and values and stuff. So a lot of cool methods we'll see, again, with these central questions of why is it that the world is the way it is, and what makes us tick, and can that change? So I won't go through all the other questions, but these are just to kind of whet your sociological appetite. And remember, really sociology is the study of everything. As long as it involves people, and people interacting, even if it's with themselves, going on, talking to yourself, that can still be sociology. Might sound strange, but we'll get there in this course. Okay, so today, again, I know this is my first time teaching a very introductory course, or the first course that a student may be taking in this school. Just show of hands, put up your hand if you're in your first year. Oh, okay. So, okay. And so just in case I didn't see any, put up your hand if you're second year or above. Okay. So some of you taking this as an elective maybe. All right, so hopefully all you new first years, this will be an enjoyable experience, and I won't scare you away from sociology. But, again, that's yet to be determined. Okay, so today, again, I want to, as you are new to the university, I'm sure you all had a wonderful week last week and were introduced to things like Quercus, but in case you weren't, I do want to take you through kind of how you can get access to this course online, and then just some other basic things like classroom expectations, learning expectations. Because we are a full year course as opposed to a half year, it's important to set the foundation really strong just so there's no confusion going along. So I'll introduce myself more formally and a couple of my teammates. Then we will discuss kind of the arc of the course, the general learning expectations. Then we'll discuss our kind of nifty, so to keep the theme of online learning or keeping things digital, in the same way that we have recorded lectures, you may have noticed on the syllabus that our textbook is actually an app. So this may seem scary or exciting depending on your view of smartphones and apps and things like that. Hopefully you'll find it exciting and intuitive. I do, and students of the previous professor, Professor Little, who teaches this class typically, her students have found it very immersive and a fun way to really learn the course content. So I'll kind of walk you through that app and why I think it can be very beneficial for you to use. And then again, I'll reiterate kind of what how sociology fits into the broader social sciences a little bit more formally. And then expand on the sociological imagination some more. All right, so a bit about me. So my name, as you may or may not know at this point, is Lawrence Williams. I don't have professor next to my name because I am a graduate student in the sociology department here at U of T. I am part of the faculty this year. I got a lecturer position, and I've been teaching for the last 2 years. I'm in the 6th year of my PhD, so I did my undergrad and my master's at U of T as well. So this is my 11th year in this school. And I'm born and raised in Toronto, in North York, so I'm very familiar with Scarborough, very happy to be at this campus. I've taught at all 3 campuses, and this one is my favorite, I'll say that for sure. The architecture is beautiful. It's beautiful in the summer, walking around the ravine. If you have any questions about things around here, talk to me about that, or questions about the other campuses. I entered sociology. So as we'll see, sociology, as I said, you can study anything you want. I entered sociology because I actually was a high school dropout. I dropped out when I was 16, and I tried to become a professional gamer. I dropped out for a lot of reasons, some of which weren't as fun as that, but needless to say, I went to tournaments. I played fighting games. My game was Tekken 5, Dark Resurrection. I don't know if any of you know fighting games, Street Fighter, that kind of thing. So when I went to university, my question was, why the heck am I so compelled by video games? Why do I love them so much? And that kind of carried me through undergrad. I became more interested kind of outside of the scope of just me and video games to why is it that people really become passionate about things. So now I study careers and kind of why people choose the jobs they do, why they stick around, why they leave. So any questions about general confusion, thinking what am I going to do with my life in the future, that's always what my mind's going through. So any kind of informal career counseling or academic advising, I'm very interested in talking to you about that. So that's a bit about me. In my previous courses, my kind of go-to course was the Sociology of Policing, and I've tended to teach courses around mental health and deviance. And I taught the second half of an intro course in the summer at the St. George campus. So as I said, this is my first kind of full-out introductory class. So I'm really excited to get all you fresh blood and kind of gear you towards university the way I'd like you to see it. And learn from you as well, of course. But I do have a bit of experience with introductory stuff. So you'll see our team here. Of my team, Andrew and Jason are here, and I'll introduce them shortly. This is my first time. I feel very privileged. I have a lead TA. So when he comes up, you'll see he's kind of my right-hand guy here. He'll be able to assist you if you have any questions along the way. He did his undergrad here as well, so he's very familiar with the campus, and he's TA'd this course for the previous kind of usual professor a couple of times. So he really knows this course well, so I'm very lucky to have him. And then we have Andrew, who will be introducing himself shortly. He's a current undergraduate student, and he and Sarah will be your peer mentors. So there's one thing to have me and other grad students kind of up here telling you things about the course, but sometimes we may not be in the mind of an undergraduate, feeling the pulse of what's going on so well. So I'm very lucky to have a couple of undergrads to help make sure that I'm making sense up here and not overcomplicating things too much, even though I want you to learn how to complicate things. And then so you'll see TAs as well. We right now, aside from the lead TA, we have 4 TAs, and there's a 5th one. I'm just the couple people declined the contract, so I'm waiting for the 5th one. Hopefully someone accepts it. Fingers crossed. And then so you'll see that some of you in tutorials, you have Jason as your kind of interim TA. But you will have your own designated TA. And then you will all be part of this experience as well, again, shaping the class. I'm going to try to make this a very interactive class, as I said. Today is a bit different, just because I'm setting things up. So that's really messy, don't worry about it. I know you probably can't really see that very well, but the slides, so I just wanted to show you, this was a logical break to do that. I will always be posting, so not only are the lectures available online, but the slides will be posted online as well. So if you click, I'm on the student view right now of Quercus. So in case you've never been on Quercus, just go on any web browser and type q.utoronto.ca. And then you'll see Sociology. Both lecture sections are merged. Again, you don't have to be concerned about Lec 30. Don't be confused about anything you hear about Tuesday. But just because there's so many students, and it doesn't make sense for me to make 2 separate portals. So you're on the same portal. The course is exactly the same. But again, just only pay attention to announcements that say Monday or lecture 1, or if it doesn't say a day. So under modules, you'll see the syllabus, and then you'll see lecture slides. So I will try to post those by every Monday morning before a lecture. That way you don't have to frantically take notes or anything if you're here, or if you're watching it from home. So you'll see there's a preview up here when you click it. Sometimes that doesn't work. So what you can do is just click the link, and then it will download. So the slides will always be there. And so under modules as well, there's a ton of things. I'll walk you through it after, but I believe I did. I'll make it available later. I have this kind of messy chart set up as a, I'll have a page for this as well, but it's in the PowerPoint slide, just so you know who your TA is. So again, you all should be registered in a tutorial. If you aren't registered in a tutorial, because I did get questions about this from a few students, just go on Acorn, click on the Sociology course, and then you should see there should be a place for you to pick a tutorial section. Tutorial sections don't begin until next Wednesday. So if you're Wednesday, then it's Wednesday the 19th, or Thursday the 20th, and Friday the 21st, depending which section you chose. But tutorials, of course, don't begin until after you've read chapter 1, and they'll be designed to help you with that. So in terms of email, if you have any questions, you should please email just because there are so many students, I'm more than happy to talk to people, but getting 500 emails would I don't know how I would handle that from 500 students. Please try to email the tutorial leader, the TA that's responsible for your section. They'll be doing all of your grading as well. So again, there's only so much I can help with since I'm not grading. I'm constructing the rubrics and I'll be keeping things all together. But your TA is probably the best person to talk to. So on the syllabus, so it's a really kind of ghastly document that I've created. It's 18 pages long. I apologize for that. But it has everything we'll need. Again, I wanted to make sure we had one document that we could always refer to for the entirety of the course. If you have any questions, I've really tried my best, and Professor Little, who taught this course before, she tried her best to kind of put the majority of commonly asked or frequently asked questions, to put answers to them on the syllabus. So things about deadlines, enrolling in tutorials, Revel, submitting assignments, the instructions for those things should be on the syllabus. If you see anything that's not addressed, though, by all means, email your tutorial section leader, myself, or Andrew if it's about Revel. But please do check the syllabus first, just to save everyone time. So you'll see there are specific people you can email about different things. So technical issues with Revel, our peer mentors have used this in the past. Sarah was a student of this class last year. So emailing her or Andrew, they've helped with this before. They would know more than me. I haven't used it from the student side, of course, so they would be more helpful. Extensions on homework or term tests due to illness or emergency. Please contact the lead TA, Jason, at the email up there. Questions about textbook and lecture content. Again, I would recommend addressing your section TA, just because you'll get to know them more one-on-one in tutorials, and they'll be grading you, but feel free to ask me as well. And I'm also going to figure out on Quercus how to set up a discussion board. Right now it keeps coming up as invisible. And then questions about adjusting to UTSC and study skills and how to improve. Again, we're very lucky. We have our peer mentors. They're right in the thick of being students as well. So please ask them questions should they come up. So I have office hours twice a week. So every Monday I am in MW 320. So MW is management wing, but which is now the social science building. I think until Highland Hall's developed. I'll be moving offices there. I'll update you ahead of time. But for now I'm in MW 320. And I have office hours every Monday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And then every Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Let me just make sure I wrote it down correctly. Yeah. Monday 12 to 1 and Tuesday 4 to 5. Now I'll say this now. Students very infrequently utilize office hours. I think, part of that is you think, well, maybe I don't have a very specific question, or I'm a bit intimidated by the professor. Please feel free to come in at any time, even just to introduce yourself, to let me know kind of, how things are going. I really do like talking to students. I'm a very kind of talkative person. So I'm often just sitting in there alone, wondering why no one's coming. It's okay. I can rationalize it and get work done and stuff. But I like seeing, especially again, because this is a new experience for me. Never had a class this big. Never had this many first years. And I'd like to connect with you over the year. So please do use the office hours. Again, no pressure to do so, but I'd appreciate it. So I have a slide about social media. So in the past, we've used social media. Andrew will talk a little bit about that. I'm kind of a dinosaur with that stuff. So I think we do have a Facebook page, and there might be a Snapchat page as well. I don't know anything about Snapchat, so I can't really, I took that out of my slide. But the undergrad association deals with that. So we'll see. You can talk that way. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the first of our two fantastic peer mentors. So Andrew C2. Thank you.
hopefully over the course of this year, we had the chance to talk to one another as well. So a bit about me. I'm in my 5th and hopefully final year, where I'm pursuing a double major in public policy and sociology. And my research interests follow along the lines of higher education, community building, and also student advancement. And what this means in more simpler terms is I look at the ways in which to engage students across the life stages, so whether they're incoming, currently studying, or have graduated from this university, and building spaces where people can come together, share their stories, but then also create meaningful experiences for one another as well. On a more casual side note, I would say heavily invested in dogs. So if you have any videos or photos yourself, feel free to send them my way. I'm more than open to anything. So, but I digress a bit. Back to my story a bit. I've been involved at UTSC since my first year. I've worked pretty much across campus, and I've recently transferred over to the St. George campus a bit, doing work there as well. And as I was building this presentation and looking at what I was doing as a whole, it really came back to 5 different areas. And first and foremost, I was involved in departmental student associations, or DSAs for short. And essentially, every single academic department here on this campus has a student organization that's affiliated with it. And so for me, I've been part of Students of Sociology for the majority of my time, but then also the Political Science Association. And through these organizations, I've had the chance to create multiple events and programming, not only for my respective student populations, but then also for the greater U of T community at large as well. I've worked in the Department of Student Life for about 3 years now, I think, both as a mentor and then also through leadership development and cultivation. I've worked with the Department of Sociology, both as a teaching assistant for this course and as a peer mentor last year for Professor Little as well. I've engaged with the Academic Advice and Career Center for about 2 years through the Get Started program, which hopefully some of you may be aware of if you've attended this past summer. And then more recently, I've also worked at the Central Advancement Office downtown, working with alumni relations to streamline faculty engagement selection processes for academic events. A big mouthful. And for this year, I'm working 3 jobs. So along with Lawrence, I'm also a research assistant with the Department of Sociology, and then also I'm back downtown with the Central Advancement Office working as a student engagement officer. So definitely a lot of different things, but throughout all these experiences, I came up with, I guess, 3 main takeaways that hopefully you all will take away yourself, or at least seriously consider as you're going through your time here at UTSC, either in your first year or hopefully throughout your entire degree as well. And the first thing is that failure is not the opposite of success. I think a lot of us really see failure as this end-all be-all, where if we do fail, we are literally nothing, but that is not the case. Especially for me, I put in a lot of work into different projects, but I've never really seen the results that I would have liked in some areas. But it's all about learning that even if you do fall, for whatever case it may be, you're able to pick yourself up, and you're able to learn through your mistakes as a whole. Because especially at the university setting, even though of course you shouldn't be making as many mistakes as you should always be able to be open to them and be able to learn from them as well. Because here you're able to make mistakes, whereas in the real world, maybe not so much. And on the note of this, I also really want to heavily emphasize that asking for help is more than okay, especially within this campus where everyone is so willing to support you in any way possible. Honestly, feel free to reach out to either the peer mentors, Lawrence, or even the teaching assistants. We're all here to help make sure that you have the best possible time in the first year. And then even just speaking on a heart-to-heart level, you matter, and we want to make sure that you have the best possible time here, either in your first year, in this class, or in general throughout your entire degree. Because you have a lot to offer to the university, but then also as individuals, you have a lot to offer to yourselves. And we want to make sure that you have the best possible time as well. On a more positive note, I do, of course, highly encourage you to get involved, either in your first year or in your upper years, and to really figure out where your passions lie. Because again, as individuals, you have so much to offer, but we also want to make sure that you're able to hone in on those special interests and be able to figure out what matters the most to you. Because 5 or 10 years from now, when you're out and about, you want to make sure that you're on some sort of path that you're actually proud of as a whole. And so I want to end this really short presentation by really emphasizing that your story really begins with you. and as active community members of this course, we highly emphasize your active participation. So whether it's one-on-one or with the entire class as a whole, we want to make sure that you're having the best possible time. And that comes from being able to interact with us either online or in person, and really making the most of the resources that are made available to you as a whole. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope that we do have the chance to talk to one another over the course of the year as a whole.
Okay, and so now our lead TA will also introduce himself. Mike. Great.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Jason. I don't have slides like Andrew does. I think that was really fancy. Everything he says is exactly true. Anyway, I'm going to be really brief. I'm the lead TA, so I won't be teaching any of you in class unless we actually can't find a fifth person to cover those tutorials. You come to me, as Lawrence has said, with anything about extensions and illness, or due to illness or emergencies. Little about myself, I actually went here for my undergrad. So I went 4 years here, and now I'm in my 3rd year of my PhD at U of T as well. I don't know how many years that is, 7 years? Okay. So I guess I'm in my 7th year at U of T, so I'm not that far behind from you. And what I study like the social constructions of health in communities. So if you know anything like that, it's a fancy word for saying I like to study people who like to do fitness. So if you ever want to talk about that, I'm totally down. Also, if you ever want to talk about what it's like to be an undergrad here, I mean, I started in 2009, so it's kind of a long time from now, but I still kind of remember, I still try to TA here as much as I can because I love this campus and I have a really big attachment to this place. Final things, I just want to say that everything that Andrew said is true. It's okay to suck. It's okay to suck at things. It's okay to not be good at sociology because maybe you're good at other things. Don't feel too attached to things. You're allowed to fail and experiment with things. Second, like they were right, like there's a lot of services here that are seriously underutilized. Some are overutilized, like the mental health services, but there are other people that you can talk to, and honestly feel free to reach out as much as you can if you're struggling or if you really need someone to talk to and you're afraid to go to like professional services or there's too much or they're overburdened. And finally, if you're into like networking, Andrew's a really great person to know. Okay.
And so I will introduce Sarah, myself. She should be here next week. So I have the slides of Sarah here for your convenience. You'll see that she is registered in a triple major. She's a really ambitious, great, fantastic student. So I'll leave that again to keep you wanting to come back next week. The introduction of Sarah Ann Cox awaits. Okay, and so just I have slides here again, as Andrew said, there are a whole bunch, Andrew and Jason both, there's a whole bunch of associations here for you to take part of, or take part in. When I did my undergrad in St. George, I really didn't take advantage of those things. I didn't know what was available to me. For any of you that were in the same boat as me, I think when I came back as a mature student, I just kind of felt a little bit ashamed and I stayed off campus. But I very much encourage you to take advantage of these things. I soon learned that, I didn't need to feel that way. So anything that you feel that may prevent you from engaging with campus, please do know these associations are very open and they can help you with any sort of issue you may have. So just as a note, a couple of things before we continue. So I will post this on Quercus as well. We need volunteer note takers for this class. So for students that are registered with accessibility, some that cannot attend lectures and follow along with the slides, or for a variety of reasons, note takers can really help them with this process. So next week I'll explain this in more depth and have some slides on it. But for now, start to think about whether you might want to register as a peer note taker. I believe you get a certificate for doing so, and it's just a good way to connect yourself with the university right away and help some of your peers along the process. So as a note too, again, I'm a bit scattered. So our lectures, so another piece of good, so I have a tidbit, or maybe I'm doing it on purpose. I have tidbits of information to keep you happy. So we are scheduled in this classroom every Monday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., but the lecture actually only goes until 4 p.m. So there are 2-hour lectures. Not 3. Yeah. I'm 2 for 2. Online and yeah. So we're online and we're only 2 hours. So me, Sarah, and Andrew, and any of the other TAs, if they happen to pop in, you might see some of my friends pop in. We will stick around at 4 p.m. If you have any extra questions, but I will do my best to end the lecture at 4 p.m. every Monday. Again, I think the previous professor, she mentioned, it's hard to get this room scheduled, so we figured we'd keep the extra hour, but it's our hour, so we can, again, have it for kind of extra things, but again, think of this class as a 2-hour lecture. So on that note, we will have a 10-minute break every lecture at the hour. So we'll have a 10-minute break at 3 p.m. And we may not do that today just because I think I can end earlier. But going forward, you can expect a 10-minute break. So if you need to go to the washroom or anything, of course, you're free to exit quietly at any time. But if you have to go to the washroom or you have any questions for me, you can do so at that time. A note about questions again as well. So I did mention I want this lecture to be interactive, and you might be wondering, well, how do I do that in a class of this size? So unfortunately, we don't have it this week. It's still on order. But there is a very kind of fun portable microphone box. It's kind of like a beach ball that you can throw around the room with a microphone on it. I've never seen it, but I've heard it's wonderful. So that should be coming in next class. So again, something to be excited about. Then you put up your hand, we'll throw the box to you, and then you can ask questions. For now, you can put up your hand and I'll kind of run up to you if you have a question. So now, before moving forward, just rules kind of the classroom. This will be brief. I don't have any I'm not a stickler for rules or anything. But these rules, and I'll say this first and foremost, they're to help you, not me. It's very important not to disturb your colleagues. Sound carries, and so please be respectful of others. So number 1, noise, which I'll get to, and then number 2, just being kind and respectful to one another. Those will be the 2 kind of main rules we'll be discussing. So again, first and foremost, it's about respect. So noise, it's not about being noisy, but it's about respecting your peers that are here to learn and who want to do well in the course. If you are searching things up on the internet, laughing to yourself or to someone on Skype, that will be, that'll distract people around you. Even things like whispers do carry. I could hear people whispering in the room. That's fine. It's day 1. But please, going forward, just be mindful that this room's a bit of an echo chamber. So if I can hear you, definitely people around will hear you. And it could kind of change the dynamic of the class. People may not want to come, that sort of thing. So please respect one another's space and time. And respect one another's ideas when we have questions. Don't shoot people down, be respectful, see that everyone's coming from a different place. So that's kind of my guiding rule. Just for fun, if you arrive late, again, that's totally fine, life happens. That's part of why I have the lectures available online. But in part because they are available online, if you come in late, just please try to be quiet and maybe sit in an aisle seat rather than like jumping over people. Or come in through the back door, sit near the back, come in through the front door, sit near the front if you come late. But again, I'm not one of those profs that has a rule and says, if you're more than 5 minutes late, you can't come in. So it's fine, but just, again, keep that main tone of respect for one another. So seating, again, you'll see the seats are quite close to one another, so they're cramped. So if you come in, no one's doing it today, so great. So you've already aced this part, but don't put your stuff on another seat. Some days it could be very full. People from the Tuesday section might come in here. As a note on that, you're free to, don't make a habit of it, because I don't know the seating. I don't know how many seats the other room has. But Monday and Tuesdays, our lectures are the same. Technically you can kind of informally go to either lecture. Although if you're registered in this one, the test dates, the deadlines, everything are for this class. And I can't guarantee you could actually sit in the other class. But the two lectures are exactly the same. So part of the seating and respect, eating. So I have no issue with that in the abstract. I do recommend eating at the break or before or after class. People could be disturbed if you're eating something that is either like very crunchy or hot food. So if you're eating like KFC or something, people might be like salivating over the food, and that's really the issue. It's kind of, it's like, I really want to learn about the social construction of health, but I want to eat that damn piece of chicken. So, it's just a funny picture, again, and serious and not serious at the same time. These sorts of things really do bother some people. So again, keep that thing in your head of respect. Might I be bothering someone with this? If you're just chewing gum or having a little quiet snack of something sort of soft, then that doesn't really smell, then that's fine. Electronics. Okay, so this will segue into Revel and the app and all of that. So we have to go by the honor system with this one. Because, as you'll see, the Revel app, the beauty of it is that it looks very nice on your phone. Many of you may have your phones out, and you can also use the app on your computer. I have no way of knowing what you're looking at, but again, your colleagues will. So please, if you're on your electronics, please only have the lecture slides or your notes open or the Revel app. Because again, we just want to keep the atmosphere focused and fun and course related. Ringers off on your phone as well, and the vibration function, please have that off as well too, because again, sound really carries in this room. So controversy. So in sociology, again, we are going to be talking about literally everything. So many contentious issues, depending on the perspective you have, political or about how society works, or about the economy. Many questions that could be somewhat uncomfortable for you, making you reflect on yourself, your family upbringing, the neighborhood you live in, all these things. These are topics sociologists discuss. We're interested in inequality and stratification, and why things are valued differently, why things are undervalued. So certain topics could be controversial. People can debate different perspectives. So know that and expect that ahead of time. And again, keep that major criterion just of respect. So if you disagree with something in the course textbook, that's great. Your opinions and thoughts should be alive and vibrant in this course. But part of learning sociology is trying to distance yourself from maybe your immediate opinions about things and thinking, why am I being taught this? Is it just a load of bunk, or does it make sense? Maybe it doesn't resonate with me, maybe it does. But again, try to go through the process in a respectful way. So again, points of disagreement due to the nature of the topics we're discussing, bound to happen in any sociology class. Just be respectful, don't insult one another, and try not to insult me, call me names or something at the front. And I'll do the same with you. I won't call you names if you call me names, but I'll always be the respectful one, hopefully. So again, I want to learn from you, and I want you to learn from one another, and hopefully I can teach you something in the process. But again, I keep saying it, really just give one another the benefit of the doubt and be kind and be respectful. We all have a lot going on in our lives. You have all these courses you're taking, new to university. You know, it's a very tumultuous time for all of us. So again, please just keep the themes of respect and kindness throughout, and then I think we'll really enjoy this experience. So, you know, again, one thing we'll learn in this course is that all perspectives have a bit of bias and limitation. The human mind, or one mind, is only capable of so much. So that's my kind of basic code of ethics. You know, just really respecting one another, respecting the process of education, and being kind to one another. Is there anything that I've omitted that you think is really important? Maybe as a student, you know, from high school or something I've said I've missed that you would add to our code of ethics in this classroom? All right, good. So we're perfect. Okay, so now course roadmap. So I just want to make sure for time how we're doing. 2:58. Okay. So since I'm going a bit slow, you know, I always tell myself, it's funny being an instructor, I always think either I'm going to say all of my lecture materials in 20 minutes or I'm going to go grossly over time. So that's always the fear in the instructor's mind, in case you're wondering. So since I'm going a little bit slower than I anticipated, and it's a natural breaking point, we might as well start off this week the way we will going forward. So we'll take a 10-minute break. And we'll resume at 3:10. So if you have any questions about anything, you can come up and ask me. And then the rest of today, we'll be going through the syllabus and showing you a bit of Revel and things like that. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. That's the kind of break I like. Lots of nice questions, and ones I can answer. So it always makes me feel competent. All right. So course roadmap. So again, the trickiest part of this course in the beginning will just be you know, downloading the course textbook. I heard, unfortunately, the bookstore right now is sold out of access codes, but they will be getting them shortly. I will give you an extension as well, so just to anticipate emails, I'll give you an extension on the first series of quizzes, so I'll make an announcement about that. So don't worry, it's not your fault. The textbook is not available for everyone yet. So before getting to the mechanics, again, just how to do well in this course and what we'll be doing. So learning objectives. So unfortunately, or fortunately, in every class in university, there is going to be a lot of remembering to do. As an educator, you know, I, like every other one, is more interested in higher level learning, you really understanding and making use of the concepts that I teach. But in order to do that, to do that kind of active work with the material, you do have to establish a baseline of knowledge. So in this course and any other, when you're reading, you will have to remember terms and concepts, but remembering is not an end in itself. It's to say, okay, kind of what concepts has Lawrence been talking about? What are the bolded terms in the textbook? When we're looking at the nice quizzes and matching games they have on Revel, what are they focusing on? But then point two, do I really understand each of these concepts? Do I understand how they're connected? Can I apply them to real issues in my life or society? Can I analyze them and really think through them? Can I evaluate them? And can I be creative with them? So again, this is a full year course. Over the year, we're going to try to move from just remembering to creating, but I'm going to be forcing that process early on as well too. Again, sociology and the sociological imagination is about reframing things, rethinking things all the time. Things that are taken for granted, seeing them as strange, seeing them as new, seeing them through someone else's eyes without necessarily judging or evaluating. You will evaluate, but it is, again, about changing your own mind on things. Or, finding a scientific way to really prove your opinion on something. So again, this course, higher level learning is the goal, but in order to get to the high level, just like in math, you have to know the nuts and bolts. You have to do the basic sociological equations. So now I will go over the syllabus on all our nice little components that are designed to help you take as much as you can out of this course. So again, Quercus, I will just do this from the first step to make sure we all know how to do it. So you open any web browser, and then you type q.utoronto.ca. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, how am I still in Quercus? That's really, okay. Let's do it right from the beginning. That was a funny thing that happened there. Okay, I knew I should have went right from the beginning. Okay, q.utoronto.ca. UTOR ID. I have a funny UTOR ID, Willie416. That's how you know I'm from Toronto, but I didn't choose that, and I don't even have a 416 area code, but anyway, Willie for Williams, I guess. So you'll see all my courses I taught in the past. So if you go, where are we? SOCIO03. Then I'll go to student view so you don't see all my secrets. And then, no more, I just don't want to, I'll see all your student names and everything, and I'll get in trouble. So here, if you click on the left-hand side, so we've logged in. Sorry, again, we've chosen the course, Sociology. We've clicked on it. So before I start, there's a whole depository, so I've enabled the files here. So it won't make sense looking here necessarily right away, but if you can't find something that I've mentioned, I may have somehow, it got lost in a module or a tech problem or something. Files, everything that's in any module should be placed here, kind of dumped here. And you can always look here. So the first thing I would do is I would look at modules just to kind of see everything that's in the course. So you'll see there's a syllabus here, and then there's another kind of just graphical version of the syllabus there, it's the same thing. So there's a PDF of the syllabus here. The lecture slides are here for September to December. They'll be posted every week, and then the January, April ones will be posted. Relevant tutorial materials in case you need to bring something in or post something, that's where it will be. Information about the test or exams will be there. And then information about the assignments will be below. So assignment number 1, I'll post those in the instructions for it in the next couple of weeks. I'll show you that, you submit here for Monday section. That's how you submit it online. I'll show you that. Next week, and when we get closer to the assignment, I'll kind of take you through what academic writing in sociology looks like, and namely how to avoid what are called academic integrity issues. So no one wants to be accused of accidentally plagiarizing or anything. It's a very serious offense. It's also it's easy to do, but it's also very, very easy to avoid. So I've written a document here that's very transparent. And that will just tell you kind of what not to do and the penalties you'll receive if you do those things. So hopefully we'll have a penalty-free course. And then SOS review session materials. Again, the Undergrad Sociology Association will be very involved with this course. I'm actually the faculty liaison with SOS, so I'll be at their meetings, and I'll try to really keep them involved with us. And then there's a whole bunch of documents that you can go through, and Andrew might walk you through another time. Advice on doing well in this course, a Revel student guide, which I'll go over a little bit today, and then a document from the library that is designed to help you improve your vocabulary in case you feel academic writing's a bit intimidating for you. So that's the modules page again, and I'll be revisiting this every now and then. The modules and the files. So I'll just open the syllabus now, this version of it. So the syllabus, just so you know your rights as a student in this class or others. The syllabus is a contract, so the syllabus that has been approved is final. So unless I were to ask students for a show of hands and we got a majority vote on something, I am bound to everything that's in the syllabus. The only things I will edit are in case we have TA or room changes or anything. This syllabus, the one that you get by clicking on the left-hand panel, it could be subject to change, just names, email addresses, things like that. But everything should be pretty much as is. Okay, so psychology. Oh, what's that doing there? Okay, so tutorials. So again, all this stuff's on the syllabus. And I should know what these are. I shouldn't need to go to my notes, hopefully. So tutorials, 10% of your grade. Again, this is a full year course. So we have a lot of little things that are worth small amounts, but this course is worth twice what a half year is. To graduate, you need 20 credits. This is a full credit. So be mindful of your grades, and things are important. So tutorials are worth 10% of your final grade. As you'll see on the syllabus, so I'll just open it up so you have the dates. Sorry, as I said, this is so long. Okay. On the syllabus, you'll see tutorial week. No tutorial this week, but we have a tutorial next week. So you'll see, there's a very patterned order to this. It's no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So every other week there's a tutorial. So I've received many questions about this, and it's good. I'm glad no one wanted to miss their tutorial this week or last week. The first tutorial is not until the week of the 17th. So Monday's the 17th, Tuesday's the 18th. So the very first tutorial would be September 19th if you're enrolled in the Wednesday tutorial. So no tutorials yet. Your tutorial rooms, they are posted on the registrar's website. So if you go on Google and you type UTSC timetable, I'm always going to be showing you my little funny tips on things. Little shortcuts for finding things. If you type UTSC timetable, okay, and then you'll see fall 2018-19 selected. If you go to courses, search criteria, search by discipline, ta-da, you'll see my name twice and then all the tutorial sections. So if you ever forget what tutorial you're in, again, it should tell you on your Quercus page what tutorial you're in, or Acorn, and then the rooms are there. And all of those are the management wing building, which is right kind of across the street. Just like a 1-minute walk away from the building. Okay, so tutorials start next week, and they're in the rooms that are assigned. Tutorials are directly designed to help you do well in this course. So just as a prelude to excite you about it, next week's tutorial will be about understanding Chapter 1 and the sociological imagination. In each tutorial, you'll do different things. So next week, you'll have kind of a handout to fill out, but it'll mostly just be acclimatizing you to university life and meeting your TAs, making friends in your tutorials. A goal I want for this course I have for everyone is to make lifelong study buddies. So the tutorials, I think, are a good way to kind of force you to do that. So tutorials are worth 10%. There are 11 tutorials over the course of the entire year. And so if you participate, your TAs will go over how participation grades work. But if you participate actively and you go to every tutorial, it's very possible to get full marks. If you attend but you do not participate at all, so you don't hand anything in, and you don't talk, or you're disruptive, you'll likely get half marks. And if you don't attend at all, then you won't get any marks. Please see the syllabus for stipulations about missing tutorials and receiving partial marks. So you can miss up to 2 tutorials in the year, and you can receive half marks for those, the ones that you miss. So you won't get full marks, but if you go to every other one and you've missed, it's been acknowledged and received that you've missed those 2, you could still get like 9 out of 10. So this is a section, again, not designed to penalize anyone, but to help you do well in the tests, on the tests and on the assignments. So tutorials, again, will be covering course content, then tips for how to do assignments, and study tips. So this could seem like a lot, but again, it's over the course of the whole year. So written assignments, you have 3 that are each worth 10% of the final grade. So you have Essay 1, which is due in week 6. So I believe that is, for this class, that is October 22nd. So I will show you on the syllabus, just so we all are on the same page. On the syllabus, towards the front, I have evaluation components at a glance. So you'll see here, assignment, oh, I don't have the date, I just have the week. The date is down here. So right here. So assignment number 1 is due October 22nd on Quercus. Next week I'll show you how to start submitting assignments, and then I'll post the instructions online as well. So your 3 deadlines for the assignments, October 22nd, then all the way January 14th, and then all the way March 25th. So they're roughly at kind of thirds of the course. Sorry, I'm just hearing some whispering near the front. If you can please be quiet. Thank you. Whispers do carry, strangely, in this classroom. Okay. So the 3 written assignments. So again, the instructions are not on the syllabus yet, but your tutorials are designed to help you with these. One will be a paper where you apply theories to an event. Another will be conducting a literature review. That's kind of how academics gain a sense of the field. So if you're interested in the sociology of families or of immigration, you kind of go online. We'll have a librarian come in and show you how to look up articles. You go online and really research a topic and become knowledgeable about that area. And then the 3rd assignment will likely be you doing a couple of your own interviews with people. So again, the arc of the course being more about learning the foundations, then starting to apply them, do research, and then kind of doing sociology more yourself. And after I go over the tests, I'll go over policies about lateness. So the biggest component of the course, as a first-year course, we must have a final exam. So that's the biggest thing we have. So in April, we have a final exam worth 25%. Now I'll talk a little bit about why these are all TBA, to be announced. So the tests, as I mentioned, and as you know, there are 2 sections of this class, Monday and Tuesday. You will be writing the same test, and you'll be writing the test at the same time. So it's tentatively scheduled for week 8 and week 16, but the test could be week 7 or week 9. Hopefully I will know within the next week or so, and fingers crossed the test will actually be week 8. So the test will be held outside. Both tests will, and the exam will all be held outside of class time and not in this classroom. But don't worry, they're scheduled by the university, so they will be scheduled at times when no other classes are held. So I have no control over what those times are, but I will let you know as soon as I find out. So the registrar's office will be setting up those times. So again, those are the only things that could change on the syllabus, but fingers crossed again that it will be someday in the week of week 8 and someday in the week of 16. Now April for the final exam period, you'll see closer to April what the final exam period is. It's typically a 2 or 3 week period. Again, I have no control over that. The exam could be at any time, any day within that period. And any questions about if you think you can't make it to the test ahead of time or the exam, please email the lead TA. And so before Revel, just about extensions and assignment questions. On the syllabus, under each component of the course, you'll see a late policy statement. So typically for this course, late homework and late assignments, So let's look at written assignments first, because that will probably be the biggest issue. The late policy is you're free to submit the assignment after the deadline within 7 days, but you will receive a penalty of 5% per day. And of course, that's not 5% from the final grade of the course. It's 5% out of the 10% that the assignment would be worth. So if you got an 80, it would be a 75 if you were 1 day late. If you think you can have university approved, like a legitimate excuse for handing it in late, please email the lead TA Jason ahead of time. You can fill out a verification of illness form available at the registrar's office, and you can forward that to him. Or you can email him explaining him your situation, and he can make a judgment call on a case-by-case basis. So again, this is just to keep fairness, again, respect and fairness in this class. We don't want to give out extensions kind of willy-nilly, just to make it fair for students that submit on time. But if you do have extenuating circumstances, we're more than happy and willing to accommodate you. For the Revel assignments, which I will get to, the Revel quizzes, these we are a little bit more firm about accepting. You need to email him before the deadline. Sorry, I meant before. See, even we make typos, so it happens. I understand if it's in your assignments a little bit as well. So again, the policy, again, just like with respect and fairness and transparency, always the best policy in any university course, I can't stress this enough, to be proactive about issues that you're facing. Just like in real life, if you're struggling with anything, try to be proactive if you can. In this course, we can only help you if you let us know kind of what's going on. Okay, so Revel. So the fun, mysterious thing of this course. So before showing you Revel, I will show you how to obtain Revel. Okay, so course textbook. Ravelli and Michelle Weber, 2018, Exploring Sociology, a Canadian Perspective. Revel access card. So as I mentioned, this is currently, I think it's sold out at the bookstore. I made a deal with the Pearson publishers, so at the bookstore you can get the access code for $80, and it gives you a 1-year subscription, so you can access the textbook. Very importantly, and why we need to pay, the quizzes are copyrighted. You'll see there's tons of questions and study guides. It's very much worth your money. I know I don't like I often in my courses try to not assign textbooks, but in a first-year course, it is very helpful. The previous professor, she surveyed students actually both years that she used the Revel app, and students really, really enjoyed it. It's very interactive. Oftentimes in a big textbook you can get lost, You'll see once you get this and once I start showing you a bit of it, it's very immersive, interactive, has embedded videos, embedded questions, study guides, you can highlight it, there's tons of things you can do with it. And you can totally use it from your cell phone, from your smartphone, or from your computer, and it syncs across devices. It's a very, very good tool. So if you buy it at the bookstore, the access code, it's $80. If you really want it before then, or you don't want to go to the bookstore, it's inconvenient, you can buy it just by clicking the link here as well for the Monday section, but then you won't get the deal, so it'll be $95. So I would suggest waiting until the bookstore has it, and hopefully that will be soon. I will email them about it. Now, very importantly, so those of you, I do have a roster, so I can see that many people did buy it already and are online. When you follow the steps, which I'll show you, once you've registered, you'll see that there's an option where you can pay an additional $15 and get a physical copy of the book. Now that's a very, very good deal, so I won't stress that enough. If you want a paper copy, it's basically like the full textbook, except it's unbound, so it's in a 3-hole punch, and you can put it in a binder. Professor Little told me that students really overwhelmingly were happy when they bought that paper textbook. Last year you had to buy it at the store. I don't want to force you to buy it, so not that they did, but we got a separate deal. So the ball's in your court, but judging from what her students told me and what the peer mentors told me, I would recommend getting it. So you only have a 2-week window to buy the paper copy. Again, you don't need it, you only need the electronic. If you're totally tech savvy and you don't want the book, by no means feel pressured to buy it. But that's your only opportunity to get it. So again, what you do is you just click that link, and then you'll see, I have all of the instructions here. Click the link. They'll ask you to make an account. If you've used Pearson in another class, say in psychology or geography or something, I know psychology, the intro uses Revel as well, so that would be a bonus. You'd already be used to this. I have all the instructions up here, and it's in the Revel student guide on the modules as well. If you have any questions about this, please email Andrew C2 or Sarah Ann Cox. Again, they know much more about this from the student side than I do. I would only kind of just tell you the basic instructions that are here. Many of you have registered successfully though, so it shouldn't be that painful of a process. And you can have a 14-day trial, so even if so this could be very helpful if you're shopping around in this course, so if you're not sure you're going to stick around, I would encourage you to start with the 14-day full access trial so you can still access the course text even if you're not going to stay in the course without paying for 14 days. Again, very important, you will have quizzes to do every week that are due before lecture. Again, I'll give you an extension on the first one next week because of the textbook issue. So you need to make sure that you register for the Monday lecture because otherwise your due dates will be all out of sync. So please, if you're registered, you'll only receive grades if you click the right link. And it'll say Monday lecture on it. So if you're in if you're actually in this lecture section, please make sure you click the right link. I'm sure I could figure it out after the fact, but that would just make everyone's life a lot easier. And so once you've downloaded the book, once you've registered, you can download the Revel app. So if you don't have a smartphone or you don't want to use it that way, you don't need the app. I unfortunately am not tech savvy enough to connect my phone to the computer because I'd like to show you the actual app. I'll try to find a video of what it looks like at some point. But I'll show you what the laptop or PC Mac version looks like. You can use it on your computer, and any work you do on it will, like quizzes, will automatically upload. So you answer quiz questions, and then we'll get your responses in real time. And any highlights and notes you take within the textbook, those go across devices. So everything's saved in the cloud in your account. So think of it kind of as like Google Drive. Now, again, I can't recommend the app enough. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully this will be applause number 3, strike 3 in a good way for me. So what this textbook has also, so it'll very much worth your money. The entire textbook is also an audiobook. So hopefully that is helpful for you. So you can as any chapter that you click on, it'll show you the little narrator voice. When you're on this, it'll use data, but so the computer version that you use at home, you can use anything you like. You can read the textbook by yourself, or you can have the narrator speaking alongside you. So I'll just show you briefly. Again, I don't have the app. So I guess you're not huge audiobook fans, but maybe you will be after this. Okay, so so you see, that's my little Monday lecture. Okay, student view. I'm a student in this course. So it tells me, it gives you a whole thing of what I need to do. So, September 17th, and this is great. So again, in this course and in any other university course, the expectation is that you do the readings before the lecture. That way you can be really actively engaged. So to make sure you do that, the quizzes are due before class. Again, that 1 week is the exception. I do hope if you can get set up that you do it before class, just because I don't want anyone to fall behind. But the actual deadline I will extend. So when you open up the app or the online portal here, you'll see it kind of tells you what's coming up. So the dates and deadlines of things. So these are assignments. Now, very nifty. You don't, even if you do this on the computer, you'll see there's a study tools section. So this is new. Apparently they didn't have this last year. Let's say I click chapter 1. So let me just first show you what the chapters look like. So that's the cover, and then those are all the chapters. If you click into any chapter, it'll show you the components. So intro, module, and so on and so forth. Now study tools. Chapter 1. You have cards. So achieve status, I have no idea what that is. Oh, here's what I think it is, and then let's see what it is. Ta-da! So you can play cards with yourself. Just imagine you're playing solitaire, right? Okay, so if that's not fun enough for you, if that's not interactive, we have matching games. All right? So let me test myself. The assumption that, and this is, again, to whet your appetite about what you learn. Well, let me just start this way. Attributes developed throughout life as a result of effort and skill, e.g., course grades. So I click it, and I got 300 points. A theoretical approach, now let me get one wrong. A theoretical approach that considers knowledge and understanding to be the result of human subjectivity. So I'm going to get this wrong, and then let's see if they traumatize me with this. I keep getting it wrong. Okay, so, I only got 50 points. So this is just for you, though, so you can try to beat your own high scores as you go through the textbook. So again, if you're bored, if you're waiting for a drink at the club or something, you can go and do that matching game. And then people will be, what the heck are you doing? And then say, what am I not doing? This is fantastic. Okay, so anyway, so the tests will be, as I said, remembering is the key part of this. So really doing those matching games, it seems hokey, but as someone that's been in sociology for 11 years, I can, I aced those tests and I think I've learned something. But so, when you look at them, you might not know what the terms are, but hopefully you'll get to that point. It's funny, you can test your friends on it, and again, I just think it's a really, really cool feature and makes the kind of cost of admission worthwhile. So again, before you do the quizzes, so the quizzes, and so I thought long and hard about this. The quizzes are fairly involved, so you actually have to kind of click, like they force you to read the chapter. So now you can just click through the chapter until you get to the quizzes, but each chapter has multiple quizzes, so every time you kind of click a module, after every 2 or 3 modules, you'll have a very short quiz of like 3 multiple choice questions. So I would advise you not to just cram and do the quiz right before lecture, because it might take a bit of time. But they're not intended to be particularly onerous or tricking you or anything like that, but really to help you engage with the material and study for the tests. So again, I debated with whether I would have them or not, or use the app or not. I've chosen the option that is more work, but one that I think, judging from previous versions of this class, students really enjoyed once they did it. Another note about Revel and the app, once you download it on your phone, you have to download the textbook at one point and register in the course. But once it's on your phone, it doesn't use data if you just want to read the textbook. So you need to be connected to Wi-Fi or your cellular internet or whatever. You need to be connected to the web in order to take the quizzes. But you can do the quizzes from your computer, so you could do that from the library, or you can do it from your phone as well. So again, if you see a network error, sometimes it glitches randomly, but it means somehow your app isn't connected to the internet. So you need internet for the quizzes. And you'll also see these things called shared writing and journals. Some of those are activated and some of those are not. You don't need to fill out anything that's not labeled quiz. So shared writing and journal entries, those are up to you if you want to do those, if they're available in the chapter. But by no means feel compelled to do so. You just have to complete the quizzes. And so you'll see with the quizzes that you have multiple attempts to answer each question, just like the little kind of test that I did myself there with the matching. The more attempts it takes you to get the answer, the less points you'll get. So if you get it wrong 3 times, you won't get a point. But if you get the question right the first time, you'll get the maximum amount of points. So again, not a huge penalty. Hopefully you will be getting most of them right. You can refer back to many of the questions earlier in the textbook anyway, so you should be able to get most of them right. Unless you're doing it really quickly. And so again, by the end of the term, all of those quizzes combined constitute another 10% of your grade. And so help with that. Again, the peer mentors are really here to help with that. They understand that the most from the student side. And then there are links here that you can help. You can email the people at Pearson. I've done that myself when I couldn't get the course registered. And they were very, very quick to get back to me. Okay. So we're nearing the end. Okay, so I've gone a little bit out of order. So, but let's just make sure we're all on board. So course components again. So tutorials designed to help you with the tests and assignments, just like the Revel quizzes. Again, work, but work that's designed to reduce your workload ultimately. If you actively read the texts, the assignments should be easier for you, and so should the tests. If you go to every tutorial and participate, they should also be easier for you. The assignments, again, I'll post the instructions, and the tutorials are designed to directly help you with these as well. And then the tests and exams, SOS, the Undergraduate Student Association, and your TAs and myself are all here to help you do well in these. The tests and exams will be a combination of multiple choice and short answer questions, and I will be giving you kind of templates and guidelines closer to the deadlines. Okay. So, as I mentioned, sociology as the study of human interaction, but also of individuals and things that are very personal. It is often seen as kind of the king or queen pin of the social sciences because of how broad it is. So psychology, studies brain processing in individuals. Geography studies regions and areas. Economics studies the economy and money systems. History, if viewed as a social science, sometimes it's a humanity, obviously studies historical events. Sociology, as you'll see, draws on all of those things. Sociology has been expanding as a field as well. So biosocial sociology, sociology that is very committed to understanding the brain and how culture evolves. That is a new subfield as well. So we're in an exciting time in this discipline. We'll see next week, or 2 weeks from now, and a little bit next week, how sociology really began in the 1800s. But it draws on much older philosophical questions and continues to be pushed forward by recent scientific advances. So again, sociology is a real treat for how open and porous it is compared to other disciplines. Again, just a bit about me and my own research. I'm very interested kind of in how individuals see themselves and understand their lives. Aside from video game playing and addiction and careers that I've studied, I've also studied how pedophiles understand their sexuality, and I've drawn a lot on psychology and neuroscience, cultural studies to understand that, how people with stigmatized identities understand themselves. And I've also studied death and dying. So you really can study a whole bunch of different things in this, and to do so, again, drawing on other fields. So you'll see a theme in the course is sociology. We are in a sociology class, but we will increasingly be drawing connections to other fields. So as I mentioned, kind of with these little funny pictures. Ooh, okay, oops. Okay, so cognate, so meaning kind of similar or analogous. The fields we'll be drawing on and kind of be in dialogue with are economics. Again, if we're interested in studying social inequality and variation kind of in people's privilege and access to things, we'll inherently be asking questions about the economy, the nature of money. Well, what is it when someone says we're living in a neoliberal time or a capitalist society, or people are revolting the economy? What does that mean? So you'll see we'll be drawing on a lot of economic theories in this course. Psychology. When we look at micro-sociology, so we'll see, keep that word in the back of your head for now. Micro, again, meaning smaller as opposed to macro, which is slightly larger. When we're looking at micro-sociology, we'll be looking at the nature of self-formation and personality. So we'll be drawing on a lot of psychology. Again, to think, okay, we live in a complex social context, but we're all still unique individuals, aren't we? So we do draw on psychology to understand ourselves within the broader mess of society. So again, an important point, even though we're focused more on society and the broader external context, we still are interested in individuals. So we will be drawing on psychology quite a bit. Geography as well. This is a course that's located in Toronto, and we chose a Canadian sociology textbook. We'll be seeing how Canada's history shaped the way the institution of sociology was developed here. The kind of theories we draw on, what we consider to be valid knowledge, those are shaped by many of our national ideologies or beliefs. So we'll be drawing a bit on how Canadian regionalism, kind of Anglo-English Canada versus French Canadian. We'll see how linguistic divisions based on geography impact our knowledge as well. So economics, psychology, geography. And then I won't go into as much detail on all of them, but you'll see in the textbook we have a chapter on media, so we'll be drawing on communication studies. We will be in dialogue again with things like evolution, so we will be looking at anthropology. We'll be interested in politics, immigration, and other more political issues, and then history more broadly. So I saved that for the end because, as you'll see in any field you're in, history is its own unique subject matter, but paradoxically, everything is also historical. So everything that's taught in this class should be seen as part of a history and a legacy, both of inclusion and exclusion. The discipline has been formed in a certain way. Certain ideas have been seen as more valid, but as we'll see, certain ideas have kind of been cast out of the field. And we'll question with our sociological imagination, why are things framed this way? Why did this idea win over this other idea? Is it actually more scientifically objective, or is something else going on? So again, all of those things, I'm making sociology seem, hopefully, both very exciting, but also very vague and scary. But keep in mind again that just as we're studying everything under the sun, we're also drawing on everything under the sun. And what's not included here, but I mentioned before, is all of you. Another unique aspect of sociology is how self-reflexive it is. So all of the subject matter you'll be introduced to in this course, you will have opinions about already. So I strongly encourage you to really think about those opinions and let them guide you. You'll be more interested in some topics than others. You'll be more frustrated by some than others. Acknowledge those feelings that you have. Don't ignore them. They can be helpful for when you're writing the essays, picking your topics, picking the theories that you want to focus on. So again, sociology is slightly more personal, I think. That's why I went into it. I had my personal question was about video game addiction. And is it addiction? Do I really need this? Why am I feeling bad about this? Sociology is pretty unique in letting you kind of address those sorts of maybe even existential personal questions. So the goals of sociology broadly: describe, explain, generalize, and then we'll see number 4 if it can ever really happen. I mean, it's always the goal of every science, but it's kind of the hardest in sociology given how broad we are to predict. As you read through the textbook and you kind of internalize or challenge the things that I present to you, really think of them in this level, kind of similar to the remembering and then creating hierarchy or arc. We're going to describe certain aspects of the world. Again, ideas of ethnicity, race, immigration, gender, sexuality. We're going to try to explain kind of how it is that in contemporary Canada those things are labeled or viewed or have evolved into what they are. We'll draw generalizations, kind of so when you think about a class of objects or experiences, maybe a survey only interviewed 500 people, but can you generalize from those 500 to a wider society? Those are things we'll be dealing with in this course. And lastly, predicting. So given what you've learned about the structure of Canadian society, can you start to anticipate kind of what will happen in the future? It's not necessarily being a fortune teller or anything like that, but maybe having some insight into events that are happening around you. So lastly, So again, doing sociology, it's a little bit different from some disciplines. Again, I don't want to create straw persons out of other fields, but sociology really is a conversation. Our theories are alive. The discipline is always changing in terms of what cutting edge knowledge is. And so even though it's a very empirical scientific discipline, keeping that in mind, that what you learn is changing and will change as you go forward. I think that's just a good thing to keep in your mind in any field that you're in. Sometimes students, I think, could feel frustrated if they disagree with things they're learning in class, or if they think they know better, or whatever the case is. Sociology, as you'll see, is one of the most, I think, internally heterogeneous and messy fields. People have all sorts of different opinions about things. But what we do as a science, because this is similar to psychology as well, that's probably my closest field that I know the most on, it's okay to disagree, and it's okay to have different perspectives, but you have to be able to logically demonstrate why you feel the way that you do, and why you think that your perspective is more accurate than someone else's. So, if anything, I think taking this course will help you in any other course that you take, and any kind of job that you have where you have to use logical reasoning, arguments, and use evidence, make arguments and use evidence. Because as you'll see, learning the history of the field, sociology has radically changed over time in terms of what we thought was going on in society and what we thought drove people. And these are still open questions. And I'll try to teach you kind of what I think the current state of the field is, so you can walk away not totally confused saying, oh, sociology is this battlefield and they don't know what they're saying. I don't want it to come across that way. But I want you to have a clear sense of what the sociological imagination is, how you can apply it to your own life, maybe reframe some of your own experiences or those of people you know, but also be a little bit humble when it comes to knowledge and perspective going forward in your lives, to see things from other people's perspectives. I think that's the biggest thing in sociology. And again, it comes from my own. I really was hell-bent on demonizing video games. I felt they ruined my life. And then the more I studied it, the more I realized, that's my perspective, and I can't fully prove that they're that way for everyone. And so here I am today, still installing and uninstalling games on my computer and my phone, and to the point of breaking my phone and my computer. But maybe by the end of the course I'll have a little more insight into that. So again, just a graphic image. When you see something when you see anyone, this is just one example. Again, if you see someone in a situation other than your own, the natural tendency could be to just think of them as a person that made choices. And of course that's true. We're all people. We all make choices. But with the sociological imagination, hopefully you'll also think about how those choices fit into and are shaped by big structures. So when you see an individual experiencing homelessness, rather than thinking anything personal about them, and you may think that, you think, how does this fit in with our modern healthcare system and the treatment of individuals suffering from mental illness? How does it fit in with our justice system? How does it fit in with our welfare system? So anytime you see an individual experiencing what will be seen next week as a personal trouble, how may you see that as part of a broader social issue? So again, it doesn't mean that you can't say anyone has no responsibility over what they're doing, but how do you add nuance to that and say, well, we're people and we have some responsibility, but we're also part of these contexts that shape and influence what we do. All right, so let's see the time. Perfect, 4 on the dot, great. So for next week, again, try to do the quiz before class, but I will extend the deadline. I'm not sure when yet, I'll figure that out. And then have a fantastic week. Hi.